Hi, my name is Ben, and this is my Anatomy of a Scene project. In this video, I'll be analyzing this beautiful turning point scene from the movie Life of Pi that we watched in class together, specifically the change in camera angle and sound design per the storyline in the scene. The scene I'm going to be analyzing is when Richard Parker gets into water but needing help to get back on the boat. After separating himself from his deadly passenger tiger, Richard Parker, out of the boat, Pi decides to fish for him in order to coexist in the ocean. When both parties were unbothered and thinking of a way to find food, a peaceful background movie score played by a flute, which is often symbolized as nature and rural life. The camera angle in this scene also shows which party has more advantages and survival in the storyline. Filmed in the low angle of Pi's eyes level, which shows the Pi is on the raft he built himself to be separated from Richard Parker, who stands more dominant on the boat viewed above Pi's eye line. Pi yells at Richard Parker to be patient while Richard Parker is staring and growling at the fish in the ocean. As Richard Parker gets more impatient, the volume of him growling increases and the footsteps on the boat also increase, showing how impatient Richard Parker is. Hungry tiger Richard Parker waited long enough. He jumps in the water to catch the fish he has been seeing. As he tried to swim in the water, the scene in the film from the underwater looking above at Richard Parker's pathetic swimming skills to hunt the fish, showing how the top of the food pyramid in the jungle is struggling to swim and hunt in the water. As the scene is filmed in the water, the sound design also adapts to the underwater hearing, the blocked sound waves and the hearing as if we were in the water. The scene switched back to above water. Pi looking at Richard Parker and enjoying his failure to catch fish. Richard Parker realizes his mistaken failure and tries to return to the boat towards Pi. The tension of the scene suddenly gets intense as Pi's facial expression changes as well. Within a second, Pi realizes that the dominant Richard Parker has left his position open, and without Pi's help, he won't be able to get back up on the boat. The thought process and the change of intensity was delivered like a turn switch for how quick Pi and Richard Parker's stance changed. Richard Parker, reaching out to the boat, continued to struggle to swim. Pi picks up his raft, leaving Richard Parker no option but to die in the ocean. As Pi gains his dominance back, he grabs his axe and aims it at Richard Parker, who is whimpering and asking for help in the water. Pi is now in the dominant position and Richard Parker is the other. The film angle changes as per the switch stance, Pi being above Richard Parker as well as in the sound design. Pi is making a dominant growling with anger for losing his friendly zoo animals and losing his family from the boat crash, while Richard Parker is whimpering in the non-dominant position. The scene is filmed then on Richard Parker's face, up-close shot, and really focusing on his eyes to create emotional vulnerability from Pi, like seeing a helpless cat. Pi, who has a kind heart, could not leave taking an action to get Richard Parker killed, draws his axe back and tells himself, "What am I doing?" Like he lost himself for a second. Pi tells Richard Parker to wait and that he's thinking to rescue with while keeping himself from being killed afterwards. Pi starts building a platform for Richard Parker while building his raft stronger and collects supplies from the boat. Then the scene fades in the dark and displays a time change showing how long it took for Pi to execute his plan to save Richard Parker and himself being killed by him. Pi flashlights at Richard Parker to make sure he is still there and to highlight the target purpose of the scene being played. As Pi take the platform down for Richard Parker and take the raft out in the water, He uses his whistle to draw attention from Richard Parker for him to notice the platform. This time, he blows the whistle in a very gentle and calm volume, doing it different from other times when he was blowing hard and aggressively to scare him with the whistle. The gentle whistle was projecting how the emotion and Pi's perception on Richard Parker changed in the whole movie. Being a dominant soul predator to a passenger who needs help to survive. Richard Parker gets back on the boat, breathing hard and dripping and shaking the water, showing how exhausted Richard Parker is afterwards and how wet he was from the water. Thank you for watching my Anatomy of a Scene.